Next up, I'm going to show you how to solve the ALEKS problem. Provide the IUPAC name for the following compound. So we're going to do two problems. One where we're going to do it for the skeletal structure, and then another, I'm just going to show you a kind of different carbon chain where it's written different. So we'll start first with the skeletal structure. My rules to solve this are pretty simple. First, you'll label the carbon. The carbon closest to the first substituent is where you'll start your count. And if you have more than one substituent, you'll use di, tri, tetra, penta. And then when writing the name, you'll write the substituent with the carbon number preceding it first. And then at the end, and the substituents will be in alphabetical order. And then alkane name will go at the end. So again, at this point, I'm assuming that throughout your learning process, you kind of already learned about substituents, alkane names, and kind of a little intro about how the naming convention work. But I'll show you how to solve the exact ALEKS problem and how I go about finding the solution. So first we'll count the carbon. So, and then we'll see what substituent come first. So I go to this direction. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I got 8 carbons. So I know I'm dealing with the octane, but now I want to see the direction of the first substituent. So if I start here, I go 1, 2, 3, 4. I see right here on carbon number 4, this is where my first substituent is going to be, which is going to be this isopurple right here. So if you need a reference, feel free to go down to my substituent list in here. And I see that I got an isopurple on carbon 4. And now I'm going to count it from the other way and see if I can get a substituent earlier. So if I go this way, I count 1 carbon here, 2, 3. And I notice on carbon 3, I have a methyl. So because I have a methyl here, that's going to be the direction that my count is going to go. So I'm going to go ahead and delete my count right here. And then I'm going to continue counting my carbons this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is where I have the isopurple, 6, 7, and 8. So right now I know I'm dealing with octane according to my alkane name. So I'll go ahead and kind of start just typing out ways. So I got my longest chain right here. I see that I have a methyl. So right here, I'll just go ahead and put a 1 saying that I got a methyl, and I know that it's on carbon 3. And then I see I have an isopurple, so I'll just put a 1 right here so I could tell I'm dealing with 2 substituents throughout this question, and I have an isopurple. So next thing, I'll just start getting ready to kind of write the name of the compound itself. So again, we've already said that the thing I like to usually do first is just write the alkane name that I see. So in this case, it's going to be octane. So I know I got an octane. And then the next thing is I want to identify what's going to come in front of the octane. So the rules is that when it comes to the substituent groups, you're going to have them in alphabetical order. So I have an isopurple and I have a methyl. Because I had the methyl and the M comes after I know that that's going to go after the isopurple. So I'm going to go ahead and write methyl in front of this octane because I know that's going to be the last. Because usually at the end, you have the substituent followed by the alkane name at the end. So methyl. And then I'm going to see what carbon that methyl is on. I see that it's carbon 3. So right here, I'm going to go ahead and write the number 3. And I'm going to spread this out some more and make this longer. And then I'm going to see what else I have. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of write my isopurple. And then at the end, I just got to identify what carbon is that isopurple on. And I see that it's on carbon number 5. So this right here will be 5 isopurple, 3 methyl, and then the alkane name at the end. So again, kind of a fairly simple process. You can go back, watch refresher videos or what your professor posted or throughout YouTube to get a feel for it. But fairly simple. Again, you got your alkane name at the end, your methyl groups, and then you just have what carbon that it's attached to according to your count. Now, with the next one, we have kind of a different version of this question. So instead of it being in the skeletal structure already, we have it in this Lewis name or whatnot, or the formula structure, I would say. Then you have parentheses. So my tips for this question are fairly simple. If it's in parentheses, that means it's a substituent, which is why I have it down here. And I kind of have the common ones that you'll see in this question. So in this area, this is your methyl, your ethyl, and your purple. And then my tips for this is you want to draw the skeletal structure of the carbon chain that is not in parentheses. So by this, I mean I would count my carbons right here. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So because I have those 6, I'll just draw out 6 carbons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that matches my count. And then what I want to do next is I want to see where I have my groups on. So in this case, I got 6 carbons, and I'm going to focus on kind of this middle area and kind of go back to my rules. So the carbon closest to the first substituent is where you'll start your count. But in this case, because we have 6 carbons and we have a substituent on carbon number 3 and 4 in this case, then I'm going to have to see which one comes first in alphabetical order. So my ethyl is on carbon on this carbon right here. So because E comes before M, I'm going to go ahead and label this as carbon 3. So this means that this right here is going to be carbon 1, carbon 2, carbon 3 with my ethyl, carbon 4 with my methyl, and 5 and 6. So when I write this out, I will go, this is my first carbon, my second carbon, my third carbon. I'm going to go ahead and write my methyl right there. And then on my fourth carbon, I'm going to write my ethyl, and then I'm going to write my methyl right here. And then I'm just going to still label my main chain. So this is 1, 2, 3 carbon, 4, 5, 6. So once I had that information, I can go ahead and kind of get ready to add in my text box to pretty much solve the problem. So go ahead, get ready to kind of paste my or insert my text box back on here. So I'm gonna go to insert text box real quick. Go ahead, fill this into the background to make it white. And so I'm going to write kind of what I know. So I know that right now I'm dealing with a hexane according to my alkane rules. So I'll write the hexane, and then I'll decide what comes first. So I know that ethyl comes before methyl. So that means before this hexane, it's going to be methyl. And then I just remember exactly what carbon is the methyl on. So in this case, the methyl is on carbon number 4. So I'm going to write 4 methyl. And then the last thing, I just got to put the substituent group before that. So I go right here, go back to the left. I'll write ethyl. And then right before that, I'll write what carbon the ethyl is on, which I see it's on carbon number 3. So this would be 3 ethyl, 4 methyl hexane. So again, a fairly simple system. It just takes some practice, get an understanding of writing out your skeletal structure and then labeling your carbon based on the rules that you learned throughout your class, so that you learned throughout this video. But again, these are kind of the 2 problems when it comes to my class that we saw in ALEKS. So when it comes to naming the IUPAC names and whatnot. So if this video helped you or your classmates, feel free to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.